You're listening to the John and Heidi Show, now featuring the wit and wisdom of Dan Farris.
Okay, dudes, let's walk this sucker.
On Sunny 93.3.
Faith, freedom, and the best music of the 80s and 90s. It is Sunny 93.3, and I've got Dan Farris joining me here for the bonus hour. Dan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, and I'm kind of puffing my chest up here with a little bit of dad pride.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty big day nationally. This happens to be National Airborne Day.
Oh, nice.
They set aside chance to pay tribute to the courage and dedication of airborne members of the armed forces.
And you have one of those in your family, don't you?
I do. My son Luke was Special Forces Army Airborne.
That is fantastic.
With the 10th Special Forces group out of Fort Carson, Colorado.
You know, we need to have him record one of our little messages, the military salutes.
Yeah, you try getting a return call from my son, John. Tell me how that works out for you. Date chosen for the occasion happens to be the anniversary of the first official U.S. Army parachute jump back in 1940. And here's what happened. Think about this.
1940 is when this
Back in 1940, they gathered up 48 volunteers who happened to be all members of the parachute test platoon. That's the key word, the test platoon.
Holy cow.
All 48 carried out a successful jump in Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Fort Bragg is now where a lot of this goes on. In fact, my son did some initial training in Fort Bragg before he joined the group
Fort
over
Bragg.
at Fort Carson. Yeah, yeah, pretty spectacular stuff. Well, think about that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That it's like, hey, we're going to go up. You are going to jump out of the plane. Wait. What's this part again?
Well, what is really interesting is this was back when they still let you have slides in the kids' pools at parks and stuff in town. Before that became too dangerous, apparently. And I can remember my son Luke is just a little kid. And I owned a home over by McKinnon at the time. And me and Luke and Sadie would go to the park, and here's the wading pool. And I couldn't bribe him to go down that little slide into the wading pool.
Oh, no kidding.
I couldn't talk him into taking the training wheels off his bike.
He was
he was at Super Safe, and the next thing I know, he's jumping out of airplanes with machine guns. I'm going, who are you?
Where have I gone right?
So yeah, things change. So to airborne, especially today and every day, to everyone who serves in the United States military, we appreciate you.
Absolutely do. And you might have even heard just a moment ago a little bit of airborne action behind us. Big weekend in Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls Air and Space Show. We're going to have another interview with them coming up in a bit. And if you see a bunch of stuff happening in the sky this weekend, that's what's going on.
The sky is going to be freaky fun around here.
Not being invaded. We are having a really fun weekend. And all of the details, by the way, at facebook.com/sunnyradio.
Do you use a credit card? Is it a good one? Do you get points and perks? Are they for things that you actually use? We have a site that compares credit cards from a bunch of different banks and from a bunch of different credit card companies to help you find the very best credit card for you. It's absolutely free to see if there's a better credit card for you at bettercreditcards.net. With many of the credit cards, you can even roll over a balance if you find a better deal. Check it out now at bettercreditcards.net.
Faith, freedom, and the best music of the 80s and 90s. It's Sunny 93.3. It's time now for Ranger Dan's Critter Corner.
Well, I'm rough, tough, and ready. I'm a heck of a man. Eat my beans and weenies from a frying pan.
He's Ranger Dan.
Yes, sir. I'm Ranger Dan. Well, I like to poke bears and lasso ducks and kill them possums in my government truck.
He's Ranger Dan.
Yes, sir. I'm Ranger Dan. Well, I loves all the critters and the campers too, but if you're wearing Crocs, I'm coming after you.
He's Ranger Dan.
Yes, sir. I'm Ranger Dan.
Good morning, Ranger Dan.
Hey, radio ranger tape persons, you. Let's see, right off the top here, I get asked a lot, and it has to do with what should be an award-winning theme song.
That's very nice. I like that a lot.
We just heard that. I'd like to thank Bernie Taupin, who normally writes for Elton John, for coming up with that.
I'll do that. I was wondering who did that.
A lot of people say, listen to that song, and the question becomes, you eat beans and weenies out of the frying pan, which is a staple for any self-respecting ranger.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what kind of beans and weenies do you eat, Ranger Dan? I'm like, here's a great little secret.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
You're in the supermarket and canned goods, of course.
Yeah.
Because everything comes out of a can. That's just how food's grown.
That's where they grow those beans, yes.
somewhere on those shelves, and it's usually in front because they try to trick you with it, you will find a damaged can.
Oh, yeah.
Have a little dent in it, that kind of thing. You bring that to checkout and go, hey, this is dent, and they'll give you a discount. They might even give it to you for free. So I don't look for any specific brand. It's like whatever's banged up. I walk out, and I will say 15, 20 cents, and, is what it is. Let's talk about insects, kids. A little critter knowledge. We normally talk about God's little furry, fuzzy, fun little creatures, but insects are a big deal.
They're kind of critters, yeah.
They are a huge deal, and this is a fascinating little goober here, the dung beetle.
I've heard of dung beetles.
Dung beetles are tiny little beetles. They feed mainly, on dung.
Okay.
Hence the name. And
they
kids,
stay well fed.
That's it. And kids, if you don't know what that is, ask mom and dad. We'll wait. No, I won't. When they sniff out a fresh pile, dung beetles gather around it, much like a campfire. The males painstakingly create perfect little balls out of the dung, and this is where it gets pretty cool.
Okay.
Then roll them away, sometimes taking along a female that they picked up during the hootenanny here.
They're like, hey, want to go have some dung?
But here's the trippy part.
Okay.
Dung beetles they do it in a straight line, and it doesn't matter what the obstacles are they have to get over or under. It is always a straight line.
So they are determined to go right over there.
Sciencey people have figured out that dung beetles find their way according to the stars, the Milky Way to be exact. They also use lights from star clusters to direct their way. In a single night, a dung beetle can bury up to 250 times its own weight. But those little balls they create are always brought and buried in an exact straight line.
Wow.
By navigating what's in the sky, which is pretty spectacular. But then you fall back on, yeah, but hey, you're still a dung beetle.
Yeah, they are dung beetles, but they are not dumb beetles. They're pretty darn smart.
No, they're not. I don't think there are any dung beetles in these parts, but then I don't really look for them. If you happen across some dung beetles, see if you can tweak them a little bit. Put up some road cones like I-29 in Sioux City and see if you can get them to go a different direction just for fun there, kids. Well, that's it for me. Kids, stay in school, go to church, say your prayers, eat vegetables, don't play soccer, and for goodness gracious sakes, don't wear Crocs.
As I'm wearing Crocs.
I'm Ranger Dan. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Ranger Dan. It's Ranger Dan's Critter Corner on Sunny 93.3.
How much do you pay for cable TV or satellite each month? Many people spend well over $100 every month for TV. But many smart consumers are cutting the cable and satellite with ChannelSurferTV.com. We have some amazing HD antennas that allow you to pick up a bunch of local TV networks for free. We also have a DVR that allows you to record the shows and watch them when you have time. Watch TV with no monthly fee with ChannelSurferTV.com. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
Faith, freedom, and the best music of the 80s and 90s. You're listening to Sunny 93.3. It's time now for Water Cooler Talk, brought to you by Aqua One with Mr. Dan Farris. How you doing, Dan?
I'm a hard-hitting investigative reporter, John. I think I've qualified that.
Yes, you have.
Time after time. This is just the gift that keeps on giving. We've been digging deeper, and by we, I mean other people than myself. I basically stole this report from our good friend Brady Mallory over at Kello TV.
I know Brady. Good guy.
And we're talking about the big concrete clump of parking ramp that somehow has turned into a pretty big debacle.
It has. It's turned into a bit of a quagmire.
Well, the smart money is now saying that eventually that will be completed as a parking ramp. That was never the initial intent. It was supposed to include not one but two hotels, mixed-use space, and all this other stuff. But whatever developed company, they headed south, and now they're, living in Nicaragua running guns or something. I have no idea. There. But it's still coming back to taxpayers on the hook for $21 million plus. Now, in order to just utilize it as a parking ramp, they have to do a bunch of redesign. Because construction is still going on.
Yeah, they're trying to...
over there, but now they have to readjust and tweak and rework, and it's going to be even more than that, and people who are in charge of this kind of thing are going, look at it this way. When these spaces get leased out, and they're thinking about 350 of them, tops at $80 a month to lease those new spaces when they get up and running.
Sure.
Saying, okay, well, that's going to be like $300,000 a year. Okay, well, do the math. Even at $300,000 a year, that's 70 years before that 21 mils paid off.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's a.
But then they're saying so that'll free up another 350 spaces downtown. They're trying to put a really good face on this.
Yeah.
So I'm going, okay, so 350 spots open up downtown. 21 million. Let's see. I do the math. That's $60,000 a space.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, thank goodness I can laugh. Oh, what the heck! Oh, Sioux Falls, you nut, you.
Here's the thing that really kind of stinks on this whole deal. I think that it was a good idea to start with, and then somewhere along the way, somebody pulled a ripcord. I'm not sure why. They bailed out of this project in the middle.
To me, the only good idea is private funding, pure capitalism. You want to develop something, man, here's the rules. Go nuts.
Yeah.
Stay out of our homeowners' pockets.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's my favorite deal.
That's a good deal. It's a very good deal.
Because these things always get I'm not saying there hasn't been success with that kind of equation, because there certainly has.
Yeah.
And everybody's got to pony up if you want a nice place to live. That's just how life works.
Yeah.
But it tends to get more and more about, hey, we're kind of banking on a future investment. You know, I didn't sign on to become some blue angel investor.
You want to know who I feel bad for on this whole thing? Somebody that's not even involved in it. I feel bad for Craig Lloyd. In the news, they were saying that Craig Lloyd's not going to bail them out on this. Why would he be expected to? But like everybody kept saying, you should reach out to the Lloyd companies and they should take over this project. And somebody from the Lloyd company said that, well, we're just not interested at this time, or whatever it was. They were very polite about it, but people were attacking them on Facebook going, why won't you help? Well, like, what are you talking about?
And that's no different than any other town I've ever lived in. The players, if you will, are the folks who have really accomplished things and become very successful. They tend to be the well everybody goes to every single time, and then it becomes almost an expectation.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, again, they weren't even involved in this project, and somehow they're getting a black eye over the deal. I'm like, that doesn't really add up.
Well, case in point, and I can be just as guilty of that. You know, as you recall, a few months ago, I wanted to start a halfway house for Lori Loughlin.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And,
how'd that go? Did you get your grant?
And Britney Spears. Well, no, I called T. Denny.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I think I need about $1.5 million. And he said, who is this and how'd you get this number? And then all of a sudden there's police at my door. But that's how it should have worked, I guess. Denied. Anyway, if you own a vehicle and someday you'd like to park downtown, gosh, the future's yours there, Skippy. Good luck.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Dan Farris, right here on Sunny 93.3.
It's T-shirt weather. Be sure to show off your personality with an awesome, funny shirt from FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. We have some of our own funny T-shirt designs, but we're excited to have thousands of funny designs from other amazingly talented designers too. At FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Did you know you can even upload your own designs and make money with your twisted sense of humor? Why not? Check it out. FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Sunny 93.3. Thank you for listening on a Friday. We've got the Sioux Falls Air and Space Expo this weekend, and we've got Rick joining us right now. You said before we went on the air that today is kind of a practice day, so we're going to see a lot of airplanes flying around, but the actual air show starts tomorrow, right?
That's correct. So today what you're going to see is the air over Sioux Falls is really going to be filled up today. So all of the military aircraft primarily that are coming to the air show will start arriving today. On top of that, we also, each of the performers that will be performing for the air show are required to do a practice show so that they're familiar with the airspace that they'll be flying over on the weekend. So on Friday, we actually do an entire practice show. Now, while it may not be in the same order as you'll see on Saturday, Sunday, every performer does have to do a performance today. So you'll still be able to kind of see that stuff over the air in Sioux Falls. So the sights and sounds will be great. Then we move into the weekend air show for Saturday and Sunday.
Now, the gates open tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. Flying performances start at 11. And the nice thing is, it's free admission for people to come out and join. So if they want to come out and do this, where do I park? How do I get there? What are the details for Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, so for Saturday and Sunday, there's not a lot of parking around that part of the city. So we have remote parking lots, and I really recommend that everybody use those remote parking lots to save your feet some wear and tear. While you look at things and we can say, well, it's just right over there, we kind of point out that from the main walk-in gate at the airfield to the farthest northern point is 3/4 of a mile.
Oh, wow.
So while you look at it and you're going to see everything that's laying out there, there is some distance between things. So we really encourage people to look on the web page, and that has each of the remote parking lots laid out for you. There are shuttles there. It is $4 per person round trip to get onto base, but it'll take you directly from your parking lot right onto the airfield. So you are going to be dropped off right next to the airplanes, save your feet some wear and tear, and jump right into the excitement.
And it looks like Saturday and Sunday are kind of a carbon copy of each other. Both days, gates open at 8:30. Flying performances start at 11 both days, and gates close at 5. So this is something that if you can't make it out tomorrow, make it out on Sunday. But you're certainly going to want to get out to the airport this weekend. And it's not at the regular airport, so you're not pulling up like you're dropping somebody off to go on a trip. This is actually at, it's still in the same area, but it's the South Dakota Air National Guard. And again, where are the places that people should park if they want to ride the shuttle? What are the locations of the parking?
So the parking lots are going to be all basically along I-29, the Southeast Technical Institute, the Fairgrounds, First Premier Bank lot, and there's a number of parking lots in that Benson I-29 area. But if you go to our webpage, you'll see all of those laid out pretty specifically for you so you can find them easily.
And before we let you go, you guys just got some really cool news from up north, didn't you?
We did. We're always looking at coolest things that we can bring both on the ground and in the air for people to see. And the Royal Canadian Air Force has just announced and contacted us yesterday that they are going to bring down their CF-18 Hornet demonstration team. It's a F-18 that is flown by the Royal Canadian Air Force. It's actually painted up really cool. They do a different paint scheme every year for their demonstration team. And it's very rare that it would come down to an air show in the United States. But we are fortunate that the RCAF has decided to bring their demonstration team down to Sioux Falls, and they'll be here both Saturday and Sunday.
Rick, thank you so much for chatting with us the last couple of days to kind of let folks know about this. And thank you for all the time and effort you and the committee put into making this happen.
Yeah, thank you. We look forward to having everybody out.
Absolutely, and we're going to be out there as well. And if you see the sunny Hummer, be sure to stop and say hello. We'll be broadcasting from the Sioux Falls Air and Space Expo. Not the entire time, but we'll be out there for a good chunk of it. So come on out this weekend, have some fun. All the details at facebook.com/sunnyradio.
Do you use a credit card? Is it a good one? Do you get points and perks? Are they for things that you actually use? We have a site that compares credit cards from a bunch of different banks and from a bunch of different credit card companies to help you find the very best credit card for you. It's absolutely free to see if there's a better credit card for you at bettercreditcards.net. With many of the credit cards, you can even roll over a balance if you find a better deal. Check it out now at bettercreditcards.net.
Faith, freedom, and the best music of the 80s and 90s. Time now for entertainment news of the day with Mr. Dan Farris. What do we have today, Mr. Farris?
First of all, first and foremost, you know, and I know, we all know that celebrities are fabulous. They've got money everywhere. They got money in their pockets, money in their purses, money in the glove box. They got money in the china. They got money in the cabinets. The dog's got money. The butler's got money. Just crazy money. There's money everywhere. So it's a little bit surprising that Tori Spelling.
Oh, yeah, I know her. Yeah.
Tori Spelling is still on the hook for an American Express credit card bill for $87,000. She was ordered to pay this like 2010, something like that. Still hasn't paid it off, which is kind of weird. Her dad was one of the richest men in the world. I don't think she got a lot of that dough when he kicked.
Must not have.
But that's not here nor there because, you know, they have fired up Beverly Hills 93.7, whatever that is. She also happens to be executive producer of that. And for just 6 episodes, she's getting almost $500,000.
Oh, wow.
Just for that.
Oh, my goodness.
But I think what happened is she sees all those commercials, and I see them almost every night when I'm at home cleaning my guns and typing my manifesto. A guy comes on and goes, hey.
Do you have a credit card debt?
There's a little secret. Credit card companies don't want you to know.
Yeah.
You may not have to pay back. Yeah, wrong.
Yeah, you have to pay it back.
You pretty much do.
Yeah.
And hey, sunshine, same goes for school loans. And then speaking of money, Jay-Z, who's worth $1 billion.
Yeah.
He's married to that pop singer Beyonce.
Yeah.
Yes, her. I'm watching sports the other night, and here's Jay-Z sitting with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going, what is this? So I take it off mute. Yeah. Well, Jay-Z has now partnered with the NFL.
Why?
Well, the NFL has set aside $89 million for their social justice programs. Okay. There was so much backlash and fallout from the Colin Kaepernick kneeling thing a few years back when he was still being a terrible QB for the 49ers.
See, I'm not a sports guy, but I know what you're talking about, yeah?
That somehow the NFL now thinks bringing Jay-Z on, and he's going to be in charge of, like, entertainment and the halftime show at the Super Bowl and stuff like that.
Really?
And outreach to communities. And all I can think, John, is I did not sign on to watch my Minnesota Vikings not win a Super Bowl for over 50 years to do things like this. That's not why I watched the game.
They did not ask you for your permission.
It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Trying to make everybody happy, and when you try to make everybody happy, it just never works.
No, so. I'm going to see how it goes. I may watch one more season of my Vikings not win a Super Bowl, but I don't know. This is just,
they've never ever won.
So.
I'm just asking. I don't know this. I'm not a sports guy.
They've been in it a number of times.
Okay, but they've never won.
They never have.
Were they in the one that was in Minneapolis, or they were not?
No.
Okay, because I remember that a couple years ago. And we even gave away...
They should have been.
This is how dumb I am. We gave away tickets to that, and I didn't know who was in it. So
yeah.
It was a Super Bowl experience. They reached out.
Well, you know what? Not being a pro sports fan these days, John, you're probably saving yourself just a lot of mental anguish.
That's the thing. I know friends of mine who had some certain team stuff all over the place, and then they got all mad at them about something, and then they had to take all that stuff down. They put up a bunch of new stuff for a different team that was winning, and then like the next time I went over, I was like, wasn't this the Denver Broncos room last year? Like, oh yeah, those guys are terrible now. Now it's Raiders or whatever it is. I don't even know. Are Raiders even still playing?
I've never abandoned one of my teams, regardless. So not ever.
I have some friends that are fair weather fans.
No, they're not fans, man.
Exactly.
And they should not be your friends because they'll treat you the same way.
And I just never understood that because I'm like, how could I possibly wave the banner of, I love this team, these guys are the best, till the end, and then next year it's a whole different team. I'm like, now I love these guys.
No, these are the same people who think Bernie Sanders is a good idea. Okay. So just walk away, John.
Okay,
walk away.
I didn't know that's what that was. Well, Dan, thank you for coming in, man.
Yeah, sorry I get everybody all riled up.
Yeah, wow. It's just, you get everybody's dander up on a Friday.
Hey, on the other hand, Minnesota Twins set a home run record, so there you go.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, they got, I think, about 40 games left to play.
Have they ever won a Super Bowl?
They have not, but they've won a couple of World Series, John.
I did know that. All right. Thanks for listening. I do know a little bit about sports, just not much.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Dan Farris on Sunny 93.3. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Super excited to visit with a gentleman about something that's really kind of fun. It's coming up tomorrow, and it is on Sci-Fi. We have Anthony C. Ferrante with this program. Now, you've done some really cool things with Sharknado, and you've done some other awesome programs, but you got a new one, a shark-themed Off the Deep End weekend featuring the premiere of Zombie Tidal Wave. So that sounds like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, Zombie Tidal Wave is pretty cool. I mean, we got the chance to go film a movie in Thailand and pay homage to those old school 1980s zombie movies, like the Lucio Fulci films. So we had a blast. It was it's a gory film, but it's got that sense of fun that we bring to the Sharknadoes. So we had a blast.
Now, the thing that's really fun, Sharknado is something that just when that came out, I remember there were people in the beginning making fun of it, but it's done so well and spawned movie after movie after movie. Did you guys realize how popular it was going to be when you started doing this?
Oh no way. I mean, you make movies. You basically do a one-off. You do one movie and you're done. And if you're lucky, you get to do a sequel. And somehow it blew up overnight. It was one of those movies that suddenly there was this huge Twitter, people talking about it and stuff. And we just rode the ride for 6 movies. And look, I was just in Malaysia last weekend. There's a amusement park called Sunway Lagoon. And they have a Sharknado attraction that debuted. So there's no way that we ever thought 6 years ago that not only will we have 5 more movies, but a slot machine, a hit single, and a theme park. So we knocked off a lot of things on a bucket list. It's pretty cool.
And this new movie, Zombie Tidal Wave, this is kind of following a similar formula, isn't it?
Yeah, it's silly concept. You know, you have this outrageous premise, and you kind of take it and you just write it. So, I mean, I think usually how these things work, you know, even with the sequels that we did with Sharknado, is you have a concept, you ground it, and then you just go crazy with it. So with Zombie Tidal Wave, it's a lot more in common with the first Sharknado, is where we're world building. You know, you have to kind of establish the world, so you have to ground it as much as possible, so you can kind of, you know, get into the zombie stuff. You know, it's like the characters aren't familiar with, you know, zombies yet. You know, they have a sense that these things might be zombies, but it's not, you know, apparent until they can't kill it, and they're going, okay, I think these might be zombies. Now we need to be very, very careful. So, but yeah, it's a very fun, silly ride with a lot of gore and a lot of heart.
And I'm looking here, zombie tidal wave. Here's how it's described. It says, a zombie-slinging tidal wave hits a small town causing maritime mayhem. So I just love, even just the description makes me smile. It sounds like fun. But in addition to zombie tidal wave, it's a big weekend because, you know, tomorrow, Saturday the 17th, we've got Sharknado, Sharknado 2, Sharknado 3, Sharknado The Fourth Awakening, Sharknado 5, The Last Sharknado, Zombie Shark, Sharktopus. I mean, this just goes on and on and on. This big, long list. It's a full day of fun stuff if people want to tune in.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's the game of shots. Like every time you hear the word shark or zombie, you got to take a shot. So I think by the end of the weekend, you're going to be you're going to be on the floor like, oh my gosh, what happened? And it's like you're going to basically lose a whole week kind of sobering up after our weekend.
Well, I don't think anybody would be able to go a whole, you know, if you watch the whole thing and every time a shark was mentioned or if you see a shark, you have to take a shot. There'd be alcohol poisoning by about noon, wouldn't there?
Yeah, we wouldn't want that. We just want people to have and one of the things that was cool about Sharknado every year was that the fans, and we always, you know, paid tribute to the fans because they made us. They would have parties. They would have events with groups of people and shark themed, you know, food and all that stuff. And so it was this sort of the Super Bowl of sci-fi every year. And so the fact that, you know, even though Zombie Tidal Wave doesn't have a shark in it, we have a themed weekend which has our films as an anchor. It's carrying on that tradition. You know, I remember I see people on Twitter going, hey, you know, it's like we don't have a Sharknado this weekend. I'm sad, and you know, now they're excited that they have something to do because, you know, you have Ian playing Hunter Shaw, which is you know, a little different than Finn, but it's still that same spirit. You know, he does this stuff so well. You know, he jumps into the movies with such sincerity. And, you know, he's an action star. You know, he does it so well.
Absolutely.
I think that's part of the charm of it.
And he's the producer of this. And then you guys work together with Sharknado, but then now you're directing this as well. So even though it's not a Sharknado film, it's going to very much have that feel, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna have the sensibility. I mean, I have an offbeat, quirky sense of humor. You know, it's just always been there, and it's sort of in pretty much all my movies. There's a little bit of it. And this definitely has that too. You know, it's got that dark sense of humor, but it's fun.
Well, it looks like a whole lot of fun.
In this one.
Anthony, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today, man.
No, thank you so much. And remember, just when you thought it was be dead, Zombie Tidal Wave, Saturday night on Sci-Fi.
All right. Sci-Fi sharp-themed weekend, this weekend, Off the Deep End weekend. And there's a new film called Zombie Tidal Wave. It's happening tomorrow. Check it out on Sci-Fi. I'm going to throw a link in our show notes to all the details at JohnAndHeidiShow.com.